Story RH, the podcast that makes a long story short.
Welcome to all.
History is made of stories.
In this episode, we'll guide you through the kind of assessment you can conduct to make sure you have a healthy team.
It's no miraculous solution, but it's full of examples of questions you should ask yourself.
So, what is a healthy team assessment? What's the story?
Patrick Lencioni, author of The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, a leadership fable, provides a lens through which we can study team dynamics.
First, trust. Do the employees on my team trust me and one another?
Trust is first and foremost dependent on mutual respect for both differences and the similarities that bring the team together. In other words, for our project and values.
I can trust my team and my team members can trust me because I know that, whatever the situation, each of us will behave intelligently with the common good in mind.
Next, the second point, which is impossible without trust, constructive conflict.
Frequent conflict is unpleasant, but a total absence of conflict may not be any healthier.
Phony kindness doesn't benefit anyone or the project. Critical thinking and constructive debates are what help all members of the team to progress.
So here are a few questions to ask yourself. Do the members of the team express themselves freely and in a constructive way? What goes unsaid? As for me, do I say what I think? Am I constructive?
The third point is commitment, or rather, the ability to turn words into actions. Trusting one another in debating is great, but if you get bogged down, you aren't moving forward. The focus has to be action.
To get there, you have to inspire your team and be a good leader, but you also have organized the workload among team members. Because even the best self-starter in the world won't go far if they don't know what to do.
This leads to a few more questions. What motivates my team members? Do they have the means to act? Do they know what they need to do?
Action is great, but you also need accountability. That's the fourth point. Each person has a role to play in a team. You can't hide behind another's responsibility to avoid your own.
So, does each team member feel accountable? Has each of them fully taken on their role? If not, why?
The last point is each person's contribution to shared results.
Here the question is really whether each person is acting with their own personal interests in mind, or also to ensure the success of the project.
It's the concept of the common good. Teams exist for a reason, to achieve results. The members cooperate to deliver something.
Sometimes the goal has been chopped up into such tiny pieces that my personal objective doesn't have much impact on my neighbors. As a result, I don't really understand how I'm contributing to the overall goal.
You have to cultivate the team's understanding of the project as a whole and explain how each person can contribute. No silos, in short.
So, there are 5 areas to examine to gauge your team's health: trust, constructive conflict, commitment, accountability, and results.
Great, but how do we actually use them? It feels like just another tool to put away in a box that I'll put in a corner of the garage and never open.
We said there was no miraculous solution, but this lens provides an interesting framework for reflection for any manager who can feel that there are things to improve but can't put their finger on what exactly.
Or even if you feel like everything's good, taking a closer look at your team is never a bad idea.
You can do it alone, when you take over leadership of a new team, for example, to get a baseline idea of how things work, or after significant changes in team makeup.
You can also do it as a team, as a self-assessment. Ask each person to rate the team in these 5 areas to highlight consensus or disagreements, express them, and look into how to improve them together.
This all brings us back to one of the fundamental tenets of management. You have to lead your team and bring it to life. It's not enough alone, but it's an important first step.
To recap, Patrick Lencioni suggests team health can be assessed in 5 areas: trust, constructive conflict, commitment, accountability, and focus on results. Give it a try to improve your team dynamics and enhance performance and motivation. Is that right?
Exactly right. Way to make a long story short. Story RH, the podcast that makes a long story short.